So you're thinking about getting a divorce, or you're in the middle of a divorce and you're wondering, can you get alimony, or can your divorcing spouse get alimony? That's the topic of today's video. Hi, my name is Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm, and I've been practicing family law in the great state of Texas since 2002. And a lot of times people come with the question, can I get alimony, or am I at risk of having to pay alimony to my spouse in Texas? And for the most part, the answer is probably no, because in the state of Texas, we don't really like the idea of alimony. As a matter of fact, in the Texas Family Code, there's a presumption that spousal maintenance, or what we call alimony, is not appropriate in most cases. But if you have a certain set of criteria, you might be able to get spousal maintenance, or what we call alimony, or your spouse may qualify for that. The first sort of threshold question is, does the spouse seeking alimony, we'll call it spousal maintenance, that's what it's called in Texas, does that spouse have a way to make their own way in the world? In other words, does the spouse have the ability to earn enough to meet their minimum reasonable needs? Now, what is minimal reasonable needs? That's very fact specific to your case, and it's nothing that's defined in the code. But you have to demonstrate, as a threshold question before you even talk about alimony, spousal maintenance, you have to say, does this person have the ability to make enough money to meet their minimum reasonable needs for living? The second potential issue is does the spouse have enough separate property to be able to meet those minimal reasonable needs? So if that spouse has a large bank account that they had prior to the marriage, or if they have a trust, or they're inheriting money, that would make it so that they probably wouldn't get that spousal maintenance award. So if you can pass that first threshold question and say that the spouse doesn't have the ability to meet their minimal reasonable needs, then you have to get through the statutory requirements to go to the next level and see whether or not you're going to get anything. So the first statutory requirement is that you can get it if you've been married longer than 10 years and you can't meet your minimal reasonable needs. So if you haven't been married longer than 10 years, then you don't qualify for spousal maintenance in the state of Texas. The second criteria is if you're not married for 10 years or longer, then have you been the victim of family violence during the marriage, or at least the 2 years prior to you filing the divorce, or while the divorce is going on? If you've been the victim of family violence, or your child's been a victim of family violence, then you might be able to make a claim for spousal maintenance. Now, that family violence has to be a conviction or deferred adjudication. So there has to be something, an official finding of family violence before you'll be able to meet that criteria. So again, 10 years or longer and can't meet your minimal needs, or you've been a victim of family violence. Now here's the third one. If you are incapable of making your way in the world and meet your minimal reasonable needs due to an incapacitating physical or mental disability. So if you're not married more than 10 years, but you are experiencing mental or physical incapacity, and you can't make your own way in the world because of that, then you might qualify for spousal maintenance. And the fourth way that you might qualify is if you are not married, if you haven't been married 10 years or longer, but you are the primary caregiver for a child of the marriage who has special needs that requires constant supervision by you, such that you wouldn't be able to get a job to be able to meet your minimal reasonable needs. And the child of the marriage, by the way, could be an adult. So, an adult disabled person or a minor disabled person, and you got to care for that person, then you might qualify for spousal maintenance because you can't get a job due to that caretaking that you're giving. So those are the narrow requirements that you have to be able to qualify to be able to get spousal maintenance. It's a tricky area of law. The cards are stacked against the person seeking spousal maintenance because of that's what we do here in Texas. So you should contact an attorney if you think that your case might involve spousal maintenance, because it can get very tricky running through those criteria. And then there's a lot more to discuss about it. The code has several more things to say about it, and case law as well. So I would contact a family law attorney who's experienced and ask them about spousal maintenance in the state of Texas. I hope this video has been helpful. My name is Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm, where we can't protect your heart, but we can protect your rights.